Hello, Solomon, you wonderful beaut. You being online and hopping on first. I'm proud of you. You know, you keep on going at it hard. It's good stuff. Just always adjusting. Sorry about that. How are we doing today, awesome sauces? I hope, again, that you are having a good day and we are back. Oh, hold on. We're going to try and adjust this. Maybe. We're okay. We're alive. We're breathing. We're okay. We're good. I'm not dying. You're dying. Shh, quiet. Kidding. No, I hope you're having a good day. Today is a little bit dark. It's a little bit sad. It's a little cloudy, and it's like, oh, it's sad, and it looks like the sun doesn't want to hang out with us and all that stuff. It's fine. It's okay. We're gonna make it. We're gonna be okay, guys. We're gonna be all right. We got Jesus. We got the power of bacon on our side too, because bacon. Why wouldn't you like bacon? And if you're a vegetarian, I'm sorry, but I also love bacon. So yeah, that's all I can say. No, I'm just kidding with you. I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there. No, I hope you guys are doing well. Just a heads up. Next week we may or may not be having Nerds in the Word as far as like anything going on. I am on holidays next week. Yeah, that's right. Wilson having a breather every once in a while. That's weird. Sorry, vegans. Jesus loves you though. 100% Jesus does love them there, Solomon. That's good stuff. Yeah, so next week I am planning to be on holidays and gonna be catching a breather, gonna be visiting my folks a little bit for part of that time. Also just gonna like be kid free for a couple of days too, so that's a little different. Yeah, it's gonna be a different kind of vibe. Hope you have a blessed and steak filled holiday. You know what, I would love it if that were ending up to be a thing. I don't know if my dad would actually be doing steak. Okay, so the other part of why I'm on holidays next week is because my birthday is literally a week from today. So I'm gonna be having a break. Usually I like to be off on my birthday, just like able to chill, able to like hang out with family kind of vibes, stuff like that. And so to be able to kind of celebrate, we used to do it where like if you had a birthday you had steak, or if you killed a snake, which was another thing that my mom had for a rule, that if you kill a snake in her garden you got steak because she hates snakes. So I don't know, we'll have to see what Mama Wilson throws down, but you know, we're good with that, and so we'll see that, but it will be a good time. And so guys, part of that, I'm going to start off by asking in a prayer request. Pray that it would be an actual time of rest. There's a lot going on in my head and in my heart. I've been telling you that Ecclesiastes has been kicking my butt on remembering to rely on God. Where's the meaning in life? Where's the value in all that? Because the hard part is I'm reading all this. I'm like, yeah, but like I've been doing this, and Ecclesiastes is going, yeah, that's not really the point. It's not just to do things, it's to like be connected with God and stuff. Like God's the one that brings me. It's like, oh shoot, right. So also in the midst of that, those of you who are online and know about our original home church, Hanover Missionary Church, I'm going to be preaching this Sunday. So yeah, prayer for that. Prayer for then the following Sunday, I'm preaching at my dad's church. That will not be available online. I'm telling you that right now. I would have to have my iPad up and running and recording that whole time. I don't think that's going to be happening unless my wife is like hardcore and like decides to record the whole sermon. I don't think that's going to be a thing. But if you want to see my sermon next Sunday, like this one that's coming up, you can check out Hanover Missionary Church's live feed that they've got on YouTube, and it will be there on display likely afterwards as well. We'll be doing an update on, graphic word, as well as a sermon after that a brief sermon. So, yeah, thank you, Solomon. Lots of prayers for those 2 sermons, and just prep for other things that are coming up too, and just working them through. But yeah, just prayer that would be a time of rest, and prayer that I would just be giving things to God and listening for His move and direction. Because it's very easy for me to just take on the reins, as most of us, I think, have that problem, right? We say, hey, Jesus, I am following you through everything, and then we have to literally give Him everything. We're like, wait, hold on, you meant that right now? It's just, we work through it. Anywho, enough about me rambling. We are going to be diving into more with Ecclesiastes chapter 4, which is going to be like a continuation of what has happened in chapter 3. Remember, Ecclesiastes is all talking about what is meaningful and what is meaningless. And so far we've seen, at least in the latter half of Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and even the middle parts of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, it's God that makes things actually meaningful, actually have purpose, actually have value. And really outside of Him, there's nothing. It's vapor. It's something that we try and grasp onto, and it doesn't quite work out. And so we just need to really rely and trust on Him and come to Him and hold on to Him. So just a reminder on that. We need to keep that in mind. And this is really kind of a good point to be brought into within Ecclesiastes chapter 4. As we look into more injustice, companionship, and politics? Weird. So, let's dive right in. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, starting verse 1. Again, I observed all the oppression that takes place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed with no one to comfort them. The oppressors have great power and their victims are helpless. So I concluded that the dead are better off than the living. But most fortunate of all are those who are not yet born. For they have not seen all the evil that is done under the sun. Wow, that's a shock factor. Then I observed that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbors. But this, too, is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Fools fold their idle hands, leading them to ruin. And yet, better to have one handful with quietness than 2 hands full with hard work and chasing the wind. Interesting point. I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone, without a child or a brother, yet who works hard to gain as much wealth as he can. But then he asks himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is all so meaningless and depressing. 2 people are better off than 1, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm, but how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. It is better to be a poor but wise youth than an old and foolish king who refuses all advice. Such a youth could rise from poverty and succeed. He might even become king, though he has been in prison. But then everyone rushes to the side of yet another youth who replaces him. Endless crowds stand around him, but then another generation grows up and rejects him too. So it is all meaningless, like chasing the wind. Wow, guys. Meaningless and chasing the wind after 3 main things going on here. First is the idea of like oppressors, right? The absolute injustice nature of what goes on in society. There's people who just seize power and push on people and make victims out of them. And like the victims can't do anything, right? So the very idea that you have just wrongness going on, it's like, why even bother trying to make things right? Why bother having justice? We saw this in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, where Solomon's even reflecting that even the courts are messed up. Even the courts have a corrupt nature behind them. And there is no way to maintain justice except for the fact that God is the one who brings justice. And so maybe, again, this was all written as one book and one formation. And this is a continued thought after Exodus chapter 3. Maybe Solomon's pointing back to that in the midst of it. Maybe he's trying to nod toward, but like as much as there's the oppressed, there is the one who's going to bring justice, and he will make the oppressors the victims in that way. Sounds really weird, but that seems to almost have that idea. So I concluded that the dead are better off than the living. But most fortunate are those who are not yet born, for they have not seen all the evil that is done under the sun. Man, like, that is such a stark reality, because the dead are free from the oppression, free from the injustice, but it's better to be the one who has not been born yet and experience that, because you still it's almost this feeling of hope. Like Solomon kind of realizes that those who are not born yet actually have an advantage. They can say that they've lived a life without this oppression, without this injustice. And like there's a peace in that, or a hopefulness that there's a purity in all of it, right? It's an unborn child, pure, has not been tainted, has not been able to step out, has not seen or experienced pain or anything like that so far. It's kind of sad. And guys, there's a lot of injustices that go on in this world today. There's a lot of people screaming out and victims. And even, I'll say, how we are looking at treating those who are not born yet. And I'm not trying to like hardline tell you guys, look, this is what it is, but like the Bible has a hard time when it comes to kids or children or babies having injustices done on them. Right? Like Jesus is the one who said anyone who misleads a child is better to have a millstone tied to their neck and thrown into the ocean. Like, that's pretty harsh words, right? Jesus cares about kids. Jesus cares about those who are innocent or shouldn't be experiencing that kind of thing. And yet, even that, we kind of attack that. We allow injustices for people that don't have voices that we throw our own voices at them and tell them, well, that's just kind of it. It's kind of hard to handle that one. Are we being just in that? How are we being fair in the midst of it all? That's a really good question. And I appreciate the follow-up that happens after that verse. Then I observe that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbors. But again, this too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. It's vapor. There was a saying, at least, we say this in North America. I don't know if you guys say this over in Wales, Solomon, so you're going to have to tell me that or not. There's always a comparison of, it's the Joneses. The Joneses were always a figurative idea of like the one next door that has it all, right? It's like you driving home or coming home and you find out your neighbor has this really cool new thing. And you're just kind of like, shoot. Man, I wish I had that. That'd be so nice. Life would be better if I did that. And some people work extra hard then to have the thing that they compare to the Joneses. But then the problem is, Joneses get a brand new TV. And you can see it from their living room. And you're just like, man, like they got a 65-inch. I got only a 60-inch. Man. 5 more inches of just... like, you just lost the wind in your sails. Like, 60 inches, even a 50-inch TV. Guys, growing up, when I was a kid, man, we would try to imagine what even, like, a 50-inch TV was like. And now, almost everyone typically can get one either off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm at least speaking from personal experience, secondhand, or sad story, when tax season comes up and you may get a tax rebate, you then all of a sudden, boom, look at that, I spend my money on that. But then what's the next thing? You find out your neighbor got this thing. Oh man, why don't we have that? They had television then. No, fair call. I appreciate that. The TV that I had growing up was actually a tube TV. So you know what? And I paid the price by putting a magnet to that and finding out that did not work out so well. Works better for computer monitors than it does for tube TVs. Wilson learned a lot when he was a kid via bad choices and silly options. So yes, they did. But like that would have been mind-blowing. The TV that I have at home would be mind-blowing for me as 8-year-old, 12-year-old Mike. It was just nuts. But even then, like, I can look at my neighbors and be like, man, they've got some nice stuff. And we're not exactly in the most beautiful part of town. But there's a comparison game. There's people that look at this and goes, man, Mike, you got it made. And I'd be like, you're cute. No, like, and I'm not saying that to belittle me or anything like that, but like, it's where your value is, right? And the problem is when you envy someone else's thing, it's chasing after something that you think is going to bring you joy, bring you fulfillment. Like, once I get this, oh man, am I going to be better at that? And that's not what we saw in chapter 3. Chapter 3, where was it? Come on. It was so good. It was verse 12 of chapter 3. Here it is. So I concluded there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And in verse 13, and people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. Imagine the TV that you have, the thing that you're like, oh, man, I wish. Imagine you looked at that and goes, thank you, God, that's a gift. I have that, and you have blessed me with that. Is it perfect? No, but I still have it. It's still working. It's still functioning. God, you have provided all this. God, thank you for this awesome workspace that I get to be able to say, I get to come in and it's a creative space. Thank you for that. Thank you that I get to be online with these awesome people and get to just read your word. Just thankfulness is the complete opposite of envy. Gratefulness is that. And so then he follows up. Fools fold their hands and lead them to ruin. Laziness, And yet, better to have one handful with quietness than 2 hands full with hard work and chasing. So, talking to you guys, okay? Because I'm also talking to me. Instead of trying to grab more, instead of just like, it's good to be a hard worker. It's not saying that. It's not saying that, oh, you can't be a hard worker. No. But also realize you can embrace what you need rather than just like always trying to grab more and 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 more. Hungry hippo kind of vibe going on. Instead of just being hungry hippo, let's sit on the very idea of like, I can enjoy what I have. I can have peace with this. I've found more and more our fast food kind of culture kind of goes with, okay, we eat, we enjoy, we go. Eat, enjoy, go. Eat, enjoy, and go. And it's like, but you're not really enjoying that. You're not enjoying the thing that you've spent money. Like, when I want to enjoy something, I sit with it. I mull it over. I look it over and go, wow, look at the detail. Oh, look at, taste those flavors, you know? God works in that. And so better to have one handful, at least something, in the quietness of peace, just like, I'm here. Thank you. I can now enjoy this. Than to hungry hippo all the time. Because hungry hippo, you need to keep that feed going so that you can even keep on going and going and going. But you don't have time to appreciate it. So this is where it beautifully lines up to the next part with verses 7 and 8. I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone without a child or a brother, yet works hard to gain as much wealth as he can. But then he asks himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is all so meaningless and depressing. Ooh. Hit it true, man. Hit it true. This guy is working hard. He is doing, like, anyone else could be like, dang, that dude work hard. Dang, look what he has accomplished. That's great. He doesn't have it to share with. It's almost an oxymoronic argument that we had from the very first chapter where you worked so hard and then you're going to have to give it to somebody. Like, what's the point of you working so hard? You're going to have to pass it on. Now, his thing is, I've worked so hard, I've got nobody to give this to. Like, what am I going to do with this? What's the point of it? Like, you almost start understanding how philanthropy starts becoming a thing, because you want meaning. You want to be able to pass it to somebody, to give it to somebody. It's almost like the principles of Jesus have like an actual natural reaction that is way better than our natural response of me, take, all mine. Like, it just doesn't work. And so when we do this, when we sit with Jesus, and like, I know Jesus isn't brought into this context, but we as believers, as followers, when we sit with Jesus on this and are just like, God, who can I give this to? Like, I've worked hard. Now how can I bless other people? How can I help them? And the funny thing is, when you start blessing other people, God actually starts blessing you, because this guy gets it and keeps on pouring onto you so that you can keep on pouring onto other people. It doesn't make sense, and it's also making sense, you know? It's weird. It's the flip, it's the upside down vibe of what we would typically say this is what Christianity is all about. Like, not Christianity, like the world is all about. Christianity is about bless others, and then you get blessed, which is nuts. But you gotta do it selflessly. You gotta, like, pour into people that way. And so, yeah, he's, like, kind of evaluating, like, dude, I've got all this stuff. I've worked so hard. I have nothing to I have nobody to share it. In this case, what was going on typically is, if you're part of a family, when you would pass away, your brother would then take on whatever you had. But if he's got no brother and he has no child, there's no one to take on the wealth that he's developed in. So he can't bless someone else with that. And these next 4 verses, or actually the 4 verses that we read at our wedding. 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. When we are looking at this, guys, Solomon's emphasizing this concept of you now are sharing the load with somebody. So working alone, yes, you can be successful. Yes, you don't have to worry as much. But now you are not struggling either. You now can share that thing. You can bless it with a companion. And there's benefits to this for you as well. They help each other succeed. And I love that. That's not just the one person. They help each other succeed. They do their best to help the other person grow. If one person falls, the other one can reach up and help. Two people lying together can keep each other warm. It's funny. We've got an AC that like we turn off in the middle of the night, but like sometimes the air will be cool enough at night that if I'm gone from our room, I'm talking about me and Coach. If I'm gone, then an AC? Lucky. Yes, sorry. But this AC also does our whole top floor. It has to cool all of us down. So, not lucky in that way. When it comes to when I'm gone, my wife, if it's a cool enough day, she actually has to put on a blanket and she'll huddle in. And like, she usually doesn't do that. Like when my wife is comfy when she's asleep, she's a sprawler. And that's not a problem. That's awesome. Sometimes like you're like, oh shoot, I'm over here. Typically we're good. We give each other space and all that. But when I'm not there and it's cold enough, she's like curled. She's like, and sometimes she shakes because she gets so cold. And then if I'm up in the middle of the night and like I just come back in and I just get close to her, her body naturally reacts to have her leg close to my leg or to shimmy over and have her back feel my shoulder or like my arm or something like that. And it just naturally pulls to, there's a benefit rather than just us going to our separate sides, right? And some of you guys who don't have a spouse, right? Or don't have that kind of thing, and you are sleeping, like you feel it. And so you need to like get the right amount of blankets and you got to get that feeling just right, adjusted just right, just so that you can even rest. I get that. But that's where Solomon's kind of like looking at this and going, guys, like there's a benefit to this. It's like you aren't supposed to just do this all on your own. And then he brings up the three-stranded cord, which we always come back to. I always come back to. That's God. Because the three-stranded cord has that core in the center and the two others typically wind around it. It creates substantialness to it. It holds stronger together because of it. And so when we do that, we have more sustainability. We have a grounding in that. And so when we have God centered into that, we're able to hold. And I don't know if Solomon's particularly talking about this into that mindset. He's definitely saying three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. So he's hinting that there's a third party that needs to be involved, or it makes things better. And then finally, get into politics here. It is better to be a poor but wise youth than an old and foolish king who refuses all advice. Such a youth could rise from poverty and succeed. He might even become king, though he has been in prison. But then everyone rushes to the side of yet another youth who replaces him. Endless crowds stand around him, but then another generation grows up and rejects him too. So it is all meaningless, like chasing the wind. Essentially, Solomon's saying politics is useless. Like, he's not exactly painting a positive picture on it. You know, we have the young wise one who rises up to help and actually do the good thing for other people. And we have an old tyrant, by the looks of it, like an old king who just won't be willing to listen because he's just so set in his mind. But then when this young man keeps on having, this ambition to make a change, and even if he were from prison, so he's been wayward in some way, has been broken, and he rises up to authority, he rises up to the challenge, and people go, hey, like, that's legit, that's a good person. Eventually he's going to be the old man, and they're going to be like, oh, like, that's an old way of saying, that's an old thing, oh man, you're so focused in your thing. And then a younger person will come and they'll be like, oh, that's the guy, that's the one, that we should listen to that guy. And they go over to him, and you're like, what is going on? And it's like the seasons of Ecclesiastes 3. To every season turn. Again, I am sorry for the musical number. I should just stop. But you kind of have this feeling of there will be this time of justice and things that are righted, and then it's going to go back into corruption. And then all things are right, and then back to corruption. And you're getting that sandwiched in here. So what's the sandwich going on here? Well, there's corruption. There's oppression that can happen. And that oppression tends to be of an envious nature, or can be an envious nature. But it's all useless. But yet we're supposed to have this quietness. We can pursue things, but remember, appreciate what you have. Appreciate the things that you've got. Because even if you work hard at it, you're going to then ask the question, who am I going to be able to share this with? So who are the people in your life that you are able to have join in your journey? Join alongside you. Are like the sidearm brothers that cling on hard, or sisters that are holding strong, that are going to pick you up when you're down. You're going to pick them up when they're down. That got your back in when it feels like everything's coming at you. You are not standing alone. And remembering that God's at the core of that too. Because even when we have this wisdom, even when we have this perspective, this new insight and challenging, remember, if we just stand on our own, we become a tyrant. If we are not willing to listen, we become a tyrant. So even in that lesson that we see with the tyrant king, the old king, he refuses all advice. So it becomes lonely at the top, right? He just kind of like thinks, well, I'm the best, I know what I'm doing. Versus this young man who's able to offer and get ideas. And it's almost like, yeah, but like age creates kind of this cynical nature. It's almost like what Solomon's saying. I'm not saying that's how it's ending, but like, really, endless crowds stand around him, but then another generation grows up and rejects him too. So it is all meaningless. Like chasing the wind. It's all vapor. It's there and it's not. And the perfect leader's not quite there. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this? Because one's an oppression. And it's looking to others and wanting their stuff or wanting their lifestyle. The other one's taking life by the horns and making it work for you. Actually, that's two ways that's going on. But it seems to be in the middle of this ecclesiastical sandwich, as it were. Sandwich. I had to say that to Solomon because, you know, he was probably going to talk about sandwiches. In the ecclesiastical sandwich, what we are really seeing is companionship is an important thing. It gives you strength through the tough times. And it kind of actually gives you strength in general. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. When a king is making some choices that are not helping other people, he's falling. He's falling in what's the real idea of his authority. His authority isn't to lord over. It's not to be an oppressor. It's not to make everyone his victims. He's supposed to... A leader is actually a servant, which is a weird way of looking at it. But when you're in charge of things, yes, you are taking the lead on things, but you are taking the lead in the idea that you're going to be benefiting your team. You're going to be benefiting the people underneath you, because they're going to still want to be around you in that case. Because they are looking at you as like, yo, this is a leader that thinks about us and our safety or our care, what's best for us, and isn't just selfish. He needs people, he needs advisors around him that are going to reach out and pull him up. Because otherwise, if he's by himself, he's going to be in real trouble. If he's by himself, he can't be defended on. It's, of course, there will be an uprising. So I'll ask this. This is the level up question. Who's in your corner? Who's got your back? Yeah, who's got your back? And do you have someone's back? And this isn't like a, oh, you know, we kind of do the support. Do you have a 3 a.m. guy? And I say 3 a.m. guy because I've said this different times before on stream and in other situations, chatting with people on what is real friendship. I have a mentor and I have mentees that are my 3 a.m. guys. I have brothers in Christ that are my 3 a.m. guys. 3 a.m. guys are the kind of guys that if I get a phone call at 3 a.m. and things are hitting heavy, I'm picking up the phone, or I'm going to figure out a way on how we are going to be getting them together. Or if they knock on my door at 3 a.m., they are coming in. I will even stay up to chat about what's going on at 3 a.m. Like that. That's this kind of commitment that's going on. These are the guys that pull me when I can't do it. And I am there for them too when they can't do it. Now, does it happen all the time? No. Typically not all the time. But they're the guys that will also call my bad moves. They're the ones who will tell me when I'm falling. And it takes a lot of work to get to that point. But honestly, look for those. Who is your 3 a.m. guy or girl? Your brother, your sister. And they don't have to be blood relatives. Like I say brother and sister as more like how close they should be. It's like a brother or a sister. So when you got that, you kind of have that quietness. There's a peace about things. Because they'll tell you if you're going at it too hard. They'll tell you if, no, you're doing good. You're doing good. Yeah. So that's the challenge. Who's your 3 a.m. peeps? If you don't got them, look around your friend groups. Who are the people that show up and stay when things get heavy? Because if they don't stick around when it's heavy, They'll just only be sticking around for the good times. Those are not 3 a.m. crew. That's filler people. That sounds really bad. Anywho, I'm gonna pray, and I'm also very sweaty, so I'm sorry about that. Whew, getting hot in here. Everyone deserves Samwise Gamgee, and they're like 100% Solomon. Yes, we all need a Samwise Gamgee. We need people that will carry us, that will lift us up, 100%. Yeah. That's gonna be. We're gonna do prayer time. We're gonna jump into that. Cool. Hey God, just thank you for today. Thank you for this time where we've been able to read your word, and the reminder that we are not meant to do things on our own or even for just ourselves. We're to do it to benefit other people, to love on other people, to grow other people. That we need help. That we need part of our meaning in life is that we are to be a support for one another. That's not meaningless. Pursuing things on our own, doing things on our own, for our own benefit, or because we envy other people, or we just want power, push, strength over people, it's meaningless. It's chasing after vapor. Because once we think we got it, we have nothing. But yet when we have these friends that are willing to lift us up when we fall, that are there with us in the fight, when the world's gone cold, they are there to huddle in with us. God, that's meaning. That's love. That's really cool. So help us to hold on to that. Help us to do that for one another. Again, I pray for Solomon and for his mom. Pray for healing for her mind, for peace in her heart, peace in her mind. And same thing for Solomon and his dad. They would hold on to you. They would be able to have rest in you. We again pray for Matt, a friend of Hoff's, that you would bring healing to his body. I pray that he would, through this process, through this experience, actually come to know you, come to hear about you. And that when he comes out of this, he'll see communities that have been coming alongside to support his family. I pray that the churches or Christians around Matt would wake up and get moving and helping and supporting. And I know Hoff's been one of them. Hoff's thrown out all this into prayer. He's doing the best that he can in the distance that he's at. I pray those that are close by would just be able to step in, and Matt would just be like, dang, wow. See your hand on that, your hand of provision, your hand of care, support for him throughout this time. Take care of his daughters too, God. I can't imagine how they're feeling. God, I pray for this upcoming time of rest, that it would actually be a time of rest, but I also pray for the things that need to get done before that rest happens. God, help my eyes to be focused on you. Help me to hear your voice that needs to be shared in the sermons that are coming on up, that it would not be me talking, it would be you. Because it's not about Mike Wilson showing up, it's about you showing up. I just get to partner along in what you are leading. Be the maintainer of this ministry. Be the maintainer of what goes on. Help me to draw close to you for actual time of rest, not just go and do whatever. Help me to be sustained by you. We ask this in your name. Amen. Guys, thanks for another awesome stream. I'm also going to put in this final plug, and this is more, I guess this is Solomon, but those of you who have continued on watching all the way through, hey, you're pretty awesome. You made it all the way through. I'm proud of you. From this day till probably Monday, I'm going to be trying to do a video post of asking people, since my birthday is coming up, sometimes people want to give gifts, sometimes people just want to say happy birthday and stuff like that. It's nice, don't get me wrong, I love the happy birthdays, but what I would appreciate more is if you would consider supporting this ministry. Yes, it's a plug, but it's a plug because I honestly, genuinely care about this ministry. If it weren't for this kind of ministry, like, there's lots of people that may not be able to get connected with God or have a consistent fellowship with people that know about God, are willing to do kind of ministry that we've been doing, or not hear about that. So if you would consider donating or being a partner to this ministry, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps continue on our ministry. Legitimately, our funds are not operated by any kind of profit. We are a non-profit, faith-based organization. So that means all the funds that come in is from awesome people like you that are just simply watching, simply listening and hearing and stuff like that. So if you could please consider donating, donate at qyu.ca/donate. Yeah, Solomon's thrown down the main website on that. The donation page would be qyu.ca/donate. He's also thrown that too. Please consider doing that. Even if you do a one-time donation, that's amazing. That helps support this ministry and what we are doing, helps continue to reach out to nerds from not just Canada, not just the States, not just Wales, but to lots of people. And we are here to invest in them. We are here to share Jesus with them. That's why we do what we do. And leveling up our faith, leveling up our lives by connecting into that. So please consider doing that. If you become a monthly partner, and thank you for that. And as soon as we know that you are a monthly partner, we have a Facebook group that gets weekly updates from me on what's going on in the ministry, as well as once a month we have a prayer request segment too for nerds and for the ministry that we are doing. And so, yeah, please prayerfully consider that. That would be the biggest blessing that I could have on my birthday, is that you guys are supporting this ministry so that we can keep on doing what we are doing here and now. And so, plug over. Thank you for the consideration. Guys, it's good. It's good sitting here with you. It's good chilling on the couch. I'm not gonna lie. I like being here for Devo time because it's a little cozy. But also going it's home and jeepers. But I also like doing Nerds in the Word on remote version. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, hope you guys are having a good day. You'll be seeing me on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you have an awesome day. Take care. Bye.